Well, I've moved on from Sutherland, which is where the last vlog was filmed up at Sandwood Bay, because yesterday I drove all the way from Kinlochbervie all the way down to Ardnamurchan, which was such a long way. I mean, as a crow flies, it's not far, but obviously being Scotland, you have to weave your way around all number of lochs and mountains. So I went all the way down Loch Shin, through Leg, through Inverness, down the Great Glen past Loch Ness, through Fort William, and then west through Glenfinnan and past Loch Shiel. Stopped at Loch Shiel, of course, as I always do, for that photo of the Glenfinnan monument where Bonnie and Prince Charlie sailed down the loch in 1745 and raised his standard in one of the Jacobite uprisings, which culminated in 1746, of course, and the monument's there to commemorate where he raised his standard as he came ashore. Anyway, I always stop there because it's been photographed 1,000 times, will be photographed 1,000 times more, but it is photographed for a reason. It's a beautiful, beautiful spot. It's sort of a typical of Scottish views you could ever hope to see. Beautiful light last night, golden light, just as the sun was going down. So yeah, I got it all in all, with I think with including the stops that I'd made for just taking photos and that, which I didn't stop for long. I didn't stop for shopping in Fort William. I think it was all 7 or 8 hours it took to drive all the way. And then there was the tortuous single track road, which is the most single track road I've ever driven down. I think the one that goes through Ardnamurchan and eventually goes all the way to Ardnamurchan Point. Just wonderful, sort of up and over and blind summits and tight bends. Beautiful, really, really beautiful. Yeah, so I'm in Ardnamurchan, or at least I'm staying in Ardnamurchan. I've driven 20 something miles east along Loch Sunart. So technically I've left Ardnamurchan this morning. Ardnamurchan is the peninsula that sticks out to the west of when you come off at the Corran Ferry. It's the westernmost point on the mainland, of course, but there's a few different distinct, sort of almost geographically isolated areas on this side of Loch Linney. There's Ardnamurchan, there's Moydart, Ardgour, Morven, Sunart, and the last one, that's where I am. So technically speaking, out of Ardnamurchan, in Sunart, and heading up Beinn Resipol. Beinn Resipol is quite big. It's not a Munro, it's a Corbett, 840 something metres, I think. So it's substantial, not least because you ascend from sea level down at the loch. And it's the biggest thing in this area, and it stands all by itself, so it's quite renowned as being a good viewpoint. It has views all the way up Loch Shiel, so essentially looking back the way towards Glenfinnan and the viaduct where I was yesterday. We can just see the loch through there, which is very still today. Barely a ripple on it as I drove along just now. It's so still, it's so calm. And apparently this is a lull before the next lot of low pressure systems come in. So it's supposedly going to be calm on the summit and clear. Although given the forecast I had for Arkle the other week, I'm not going to get my hopes up too much. Anyway, this is although it's quite a substantial climb, it's a fairly short walk in terms of distance, which suits me fine. I'm still making tentative forays into high hills with my knackered knee, which was fine on Arkle actually. But it's about 5 kilometres in, I think, really. Looking on the map, on the OS map, you can count 4 squares in from the loch and you're there. So given all the winding and ups and downs and skipping over bogs and peat hags, I think it's 10 or 11 kilometres in all, so not very big. And now we're getting our first views of Beinn Resipol up ahead, looking quite big actually from, there you are, looking quite big and intimidating from here. Still a good amount of snow up there actually, little more than the cosmetic dusting, but as we move into March and the snow line starts to retreat up the hills as winter relaxes its grip. Tend to sort of cling on to any last vestiges of winter I can find, so getting up there in the snow as it's getting warmer is always a nice thing to do this time of year. High up above some sort of gorge or something down there, walking through this very lovely birch woodland, like much of this part of the world, in the same way as Tainish, in fact, over in Knapdale the other month when I did that blog. This is a bit of a refuge for remnants of native woodland, so birch woods, but oak woodlands too. And in Ardnamurchan and on the shores of Loch Sunart, there's lots of these very, very ancient woodlands that have been here untouched for the most part for thousands of years. Just small fragments along the coast. But I like walking through them. They're quite they're atmospheric. I mean, they're so much nicer than walking through. Oh, so much nicer than walking through conifer plantations up on moorlands and that, the ones that are sort of planted full of Sitka spruce or larch in regimented rows and feel very dark and oppressive. It's very nice walking through these places that have evolved naturally, with natural light coming through, dappled light in the summer. Very nice. Plus, I do like these walks that come in snaking up glens towards a hill, such that the hill itself is hidden from view until fairly late on. Not a breath of wind. It's really nice. Getting ready, getting my gear together down at the loch just now. Just with the sound of herons and oyster catchers, curlews down at the water. So still. And it's like when you're standing there, you sort of, it's those kind of conditions where you expect the midges to descend. But it's March. It's too early for that, yeah? This is that perfect time of year, I think. Much as I love winter, I think this is the sort of the perfect time of year when the days are a bit longer, there's a bit more daylight, the sun's warmer, but there's still snow on the hills, and you're still getting a few frosts, so there shouldn't be any ticks around either. It's just really nice. They make for really nice days out. I think some of my most memorable hill days have been on sort of March, April days, especially on the west coast. When they get the east winds, which you get most years, you get the east winds set up in spring, and the east coast sort of is languishing in har and fog, and the west coast is bathed in sunshine. That's happened on Skye 2 years ago, that amazing walk at East Point I had, and then also last year on Mull. The weather was incredible, especially for the walk up Ben Moor. That was awesome. And it is now snowing. Very, very gently, very lightly, nothing more than just sort of drizzle. Snizzle. Oh, but it is hot. We have to remove a layer. Rather disconcertingly, everything appears to be clouding up a bit in the west. Out there, right on the horizon over there, that's the brightness, that's the nice weather. On the weather map yesterday, when the BBC showed it as being blazing sunshine in this part of the world, it's probably that they were talking about, because way out there, you should be able to see egg and rum. They were there this morning as I was driving here, but they've since disappeared, and the nearer hills are disappearing too, and there's snow starting to come down a little bit heavier now. I'm half expecting Beinn Resipol to disappear as well. The top's going a bit hazy, a bit blurry right now as I speak. Fingers crossed, whatever murk that is going to stay out there. Not that this is bad weather by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, there's no wind and it's dry. It's even not too bad underfoot, which is surprising given how much rain there's been this winter. It's just Just don't want another foggy top. Well, here's an interesting dilemma for you. Just decide whether you're an optimist or a pessimist at heart. With all this murk and clag all around. Up there, sun. Is it going to come out? Is it threatening to come out? Is it promising to come out? Or over there, murk, clag. The near hills are the Ardnamurchan Peninsula, fast disappearing in murk. So do we think that that's going to win? Or that's going to win? Certainly, up there, Beinn Resipol has disappeared. So, optimist or pessimist? Well, it's not much better. Certainly a lot worse over there. And I'm being snowed on a bit heavier than I was before. It's definitely more than snizzle now. It's a problem when... I mean, the one good thing about it being calm is that you're not going to get frostbitten or anything, but it does mean that when it is quite calm like this and you're stuck under high pressure, when you do get this murk, it can be very difficult for it to shift. If you had a strong wind blowing, it sort of clears the atmosphere and moves all the murk away quite quickly, and moves clouds through quickly. But when it's like this, it's just dead calm, it just stays here forever. And I don't know, maybe it's just relying on the sun to burn it off, but it's not really that high this time of year. Oh, please clear. Forecast did say for the West Highlands it would be snow showers from Mull northwards. But few and far between, so obviously I'm unlucky in that respect. And then it said that cloud would be rare below 900 metres. I don't have a problem with the forecast. I mean, the forecast is right. It's just more my uncanny ability over the last couple of weeks to actually pick the hills that are being subject to those rare conditions. But then I'm sure I've had my share of luck in a positive sense over the years. Amazing cloud inversions and sunny days, so it's what comes around goes around, I suppose. You have to take the good with the bad. It may yet clear. It would be so disappointing because this hill is renowned for its views. They're lovely, aren't they? Well, really in it now. I mean, it's a wonderful situation to be in. Again, it's this wonderful monochromatic grandeur that you get. I'm still being teased. I mean, I'm squinting. It's very bright because the sun is teasing me. It's hard to tell which way it will go. I mean, the cloud up there is so thin. I think we're just on the margins between it being really nice over there and just really big grotty that way. So I don't know. It could still go either way, but I don't know. I'm in no rush. I'm going really slow, partly for my knee actually, and it's all right at the moment. But I've got all day, so I'm just sort of slowly plodding up, really slowly, hoping that maybe it'll clear. I'll get a little bit higher up, then I'm just going to stop, put some warmer clothes on, and just have some lunch and have some tea. And if it means sitting here for an hour, just to be sure that it's not going to clear, then I will do that, because I've come all this way, and I want my view. It's actually really beautiful. It's so still, and all the rocks encrusted with ice and snow. the sun just poking through, but not. It's actually very, very calm and very beautiful in its own way. First use of the crampons this winter, which isn't surprising given how few walks I've done, but it's just getting hard packed, and it's not really steep, but it's steep enough that if your boot slips you wouldn't slide far, but you know you'd probably hurt yourself. So safety first. Anyway, almost at the top. The sun's still teasing. No hint of anything else clearing. Oh, for rare cloud, there sure is a lot of it. Well, there we are, the enormous summit cairn on top of Beinn Resipol, with its majestic views out across Loch Linney and Loch Shiel. They're there, just can't see them. Ugh. It's really disappointing. Ugh. I mean, I'm quite used to getting at the tops of hills in cloud, but often it's, you know, you take a chance on a bad forecast and think, well, maybe I'll get lucky. It just grates slightly. That's twice now in 2 weeks, twice in 2 walks to have had, favourable, good forecasts, really, and then it just not work out. I can't remember the last time it's happened to me twice on a trot like that, or when I've had forecasts that have been so favourable that haven't panned out the way they were supposed to. And it was clear this morning. Ugh. But I didn't need blue skies. I didn't need sparkling blue skies with no cloud. I just wanted skies. Just skies instead of, no horizon. Veritable whiteout apart from all the rocks. Oh, it's disappointing. But I'm gonna get my. It's nice up here. It's still. It's so still and calm. It's actually really nice. Sun still up there. I'm gonna have the tea, cake, have my lunch really, and I will sit here until the cloud clears. Well, I've been here about half an hour, during which time somebody else has actually come up. Nice chap, Pete from Kinlochleven, who also came up here in search of the view and was a bit disappointed that it wasn't as forecast. He's gone off down another ridge, but I'm sat here sort of, I don't know, it's blue sky up there. How long do you sit here waiting? This is one of those rare brighter spells. Can't even look up there, it's so bright. One of these bright spells that keeps teasing me. I'm sure it will clear, it's just a question of whether it will do so while I'm sitting here or not. I can only really sit here, I've got all my layers on, I've put all my fleeces on. I can only sit here because it is so still. The wind's picked up a bit, the snow got heavier for a time, and it felt like the wind direction was changing, which might explain why things are sort of acting a bit differently around the summit just now, but I don't know. Happy to wait a little bit longer. The curious thing is, even in all this murk, I've had to put my sun cream on, because I will burn. It's March, we're up high, you might not think you get much of a glare off this snow that's here, but you are. It's when you get back down and you get back home and then your face feels really warm when you've been burnt when you didn't really expect it. But through this, even though the sun's hazy, definitely will. Right, I admit defeat. It's about 2:40, 2:45, and I got here to the summit at about 12:40, 12:45. So I've been here 2 hours. Desperate for it to clear. There was fleeting moments, tantalising moments of blue skies, brightness, sunshine. But for the last 10-15 minutes there's been nothing. It's just gone this murk. The wind's picked up a bit, it's starting to snow a bit heavier, it's definitely sort of the weather's changing a bit. So, reluctantly, I'm going to head back before the sun goes down and I get stuck up here in the dark. What should have been a memorable hill and a memorable view has turned into a walk that's been memorable for another reason. It's going to be the time that I sat at the top of a hill in a whiteout for 2 hours, which I'd never done before, but points for effort, surely. Right, okay, let's head back.